Welcome to Onshape for Makers, where we are creating models to go to the shop. Usually, not tonight. Tonight we're going to learn how to make configuration tables to adjust the size of our parts, or in manufacturing do part dash numbers based on predetermined sizes. Show you what that looks like. Okay, this is part one. This is what we did early. It's an extruded part. It has a sketch. The sketch basically is just a rectangle with round corners. These values are set. These three values are set with local variables we did in part one. This is mirrored over here, so the two halves of the part are always the same size. Once we get that done, we went to extrude the body, extrude the cap using values also in the local variables. We did a fillet that was calculated based on the wall thickness. We did a shell that was also based on the wall thickness to hollow out the parts. And then we did two sketches on the top lip with extrude cuts to form the slip joint, and that's what we missed in the first one you haven't seen. I have got this one configured and I will show you what it does. We have a small one, we have a medium one, and we have a large one. And that's not all that impressive, but if you go to create an assembly and then you insert into the assembly these parts, you can pick the size parts you want to insert, and they will come in the correct size. It's not a big deal, but if you had, say, a pipe flange or anything and had, I don't know, 2-inch, 3-inch, 4-inch flange with 4, 5, or 8 bolts in here, depending on which one of these you picked, it would bring the right configuration of your part in for you. But if I bring this in, it will bring in a medium-sized one. If I select small, it will now insert a small one. That was the way this configuration thing is intended to work. It's not real effective in Part Studio, but it is absolutely killer good when you get to assembly. So let's wipe this out, go over here. We will duplicate this, and I will do a rename on it and make it part 2 of 3. By the way, in part 3 we're going to have a checkbox where we'll have holes in the end for vents, and you can have a checkbox of whether or not you want the vents. Let me go to the configuration panel and do a delete and clean all of that out. You'll notice my pick list is gone. To do a configuration, there are 3 types of configuration. The ones we're going to do are a list. A list is another word for an Excel spreadsheet. We're going to pick a list, and if you'll notice, suddenly it popped up over here, configurations. It's taking this value in this column and populating this box it just popped in. So we're going to call this something really cool like small, assuming I can type. Small, medium, and extra medium. The one size is discriminated against in all grocery stores. Now that we have 3 sizes we can pick from, they don't really do anything because there are no values associated. What we need to do is take these local variables, put them in this spreadsheet where there's not currently anything in it, and hook them up and get them going. Now to do that, we go to Configure Features. Each one of these variables in Onshape is considered a feature. So we're going to select X dimension, Configure Features. And oh, by the way, when you start with Configure Features, you'll get a yellow bar that is an indicator you're in a modal state, and we're going to be everything we touch will end up over here until we hit done. So we're going to select dimension. We want that to be a configurable. We want the Y value configurable. Same on the Z. Same on the Z for the cap. We want wall thickness. Corner radius is calculated, but slip overlap is not. So now we have all of these values set up. So we're through. Now we need to configure them. We will go up here and the 40, I don't know, we just pick numbers at this point. 30, 55, a cap could be 20, wall thickness, that's thin, how about 2? And 15 for an overlap. And we will leave medium alone. And well, let's don't leave medium alone. Let's make medium 77 here. And make it a wall thickness of 3 and an overlap of 17. 20 would be good. Let's make this one 10. That's a small one. For extra medium, we'll make it 66 and 55 and 120. That's pretty extra medium. The cap can still be 44. The cap will be 5mm wall, same length, just a thicker cap. And a slip overlap will make it slightly longer just for the fun of it. Doesn't have to be. But that, now, depending on which one of these I pick, these values will appear in these variables. So I'm going to come down, and when I pick small, these numbers, watch them right here, they will change. And the part, of course, changes. The reason the part changes is because these variables define these features, and anytime this changes, Onshape reruns this script. This is a script. It calls all of these features one at a time and puts in the variables and the parameters and comes up with a part. This is nothing but a build list. Onshape does not store parts, it stores build list. So we go to extra medium and we get an extra medium part. Not all that big, but let's go back to, oh, I just see I built that in the wrong variable. Studio, it doesn't matter, we can use it anyway. We'll create an assembly. We will do an insert. We will go to part 1 of 3 and pick a small body. Do a select, put a small body in here. And then we can pick an extra medium body and select both parts and put them in there. By the way, if I don't want both parts, I can just put a medium cap. I don't have to put both parts in. If I pick up here, I get both parts. If I pick discrete parts, I get sections or pieces, or, well, I get whatever parts are in the parts list over here. This parts list is the same as this. This whole studio is, the title of the studio matches this, so everything in this part studio, if I click it, I'm going to get it. If there's 25 parts in here, I'm going to get 25 parts. Anyway, that is all of part 2 of 3. If you do this, you might want to select this one before you do your configuration panel. Have a good one. Talk to you later.